WIFTVPN.
Live from What's in It for the Black Media Studio, you're listening to The Bigs with Eugene McIntosh and Terrence Tomlin. Let's begin now.
We are back on the soil. Had to handle a few things. We problem solvers over at the What's in It for the Black People Media Studio. So we are back on the soil. Thank y'all for tuning in. Go ahead and share that video so we can get the people back on. You guys were keeping the comments live for us.
Shout out to everybody working hard behind the scenes to get the technical difficulties
Absolutely.
in order. Ron, Mays, Don, everybody out there working hard to get everything back in order. Y'all knew the Bigs wasn't going to let y'all down like that. So we are back in full effect. We got Flows back on the line. We needed to finish our segment with Flows, the resident Bears aficionado for the Bigs, man. Flows, you there, brother?
Yeah. Can you hear me? Still can't hear me?
Yeah, we hear you
go,
now.
Joe. There you go.
Okay, cool.
All right,
What's going on, man?
So check it out, man. I'm disgusted. And
if you didn't know,
you know, those that know that I've been disgusted all year. But last night, I was ready to blow my lid. But you know what? I said, you know what? I'm going to chill because teams have those type of games. Now, we do know that I've said the Bears offense has been huff all year. But last night was like, it was truly, I don't have the right adjective for it, man. I wish I could think of a worse word than despicable or horrid or, anything of that nature. But I feel like now with this week ahead, and like you said, the New Orleans Saints, they've got a history of being one of those high-powered offensive teams. But without Michael Thomas and, Drew Brees looking like he could be on his last leg, I think this week the Bears but they need to be able to take care of a New Orleans Saints team.
They need to be. You're right.
Exactly. They need to. They need to be itching. Right now, ain't no days off. They usually get a day off to recharge, regather. Ain't no days off. They need to be right back at Hallis Hall right now working to get ahead of the game plan and be ready to take on the New Orleans Saints next week and just turn this thing around, because if they don't win next week, I see this thing sinking like the Titanic. Joe?
Yeah, I want to say I absolutely agree with that. You lose this upcoming week, they'd be a 5-3 team, and most people from the outside would say, "Oh, they're 5-3, but they still have a chance." At 5-3 for this current Bears team, that's when it's panic mode. It's full blown panic mode, and there is a problem within the team. We already know there is a problem as press and as fans, but for an organization, if you start off as hot as you did and now you're coming back to just complete turmoil and you can't handle a Saints team that's vulnerable. This isn't the Saints team of the years before where, they get the ball moving and they don't stop. They're scoring 25-plus points a game, just dominant on offense. This is the same team that is struggling right now. Michael Thomas is going through injuries and whatever else he has going on with the front office. Drew Brees is as you said, is struggling. He is not the Drew Brees of old. Father Time seems to be catching up with him. This is a perfect chance for the Bears to pounce on that. It's a chance for them to make a statement game. And losses like the one against the Rams, it has happened to even Super Bowl teams.
Yeah.
The only issue is those Super Bowl teams showed some sort of glimpse or some promise that they had something more than what they had. The Bears all year, you told us even when the Bears were winning, the Bears were 4-1 before it even became 5-1. You said they huff. You said they huff. There's a problem and they need to fix it. And us seeing that, I wonder how much more Matt Nagy sees it, how much more Laser sees that, how much more the coaches, how much more the players see that. And I don't think the problems are unfixable. The issue is I can't pinpoint one single thing that I think will help solve them other than somehow trading for immense offensive line help. And I can't see that happening at all because the Bears reserves on offensive line, they're not the right fit for the Bears right now. they struggle.
Joe,
And some of the blocking I saw from the left side of the line was just atrocious.
and if my memory serves me correct, Joe, let me know if I'm wrong, but didn't the Bears pass up on a couple of available offensive linemen over the last couple of weeks?
Yes, they have. Not only have they passed on the past couple of weeks, they passed them in the draft as well. You know, Ryan Pace has that best player available mentality, not only in free agency, but also in the drafts. Whereas you should be a needs-based general manager. If you had a needs-based, I think the Bears would be sitting better. We'd have some plug and play. Because as you remember, I want to say about the last 6 years ago, excluding the last 2, but the Steelers struggled with their offensive line. I mean, the Steelers were going completely patchwork offensive line, but they found a way to make it work because they had depth. Even though Ben Roethlisberger was getting hit, they had some sort of depth. The Bears have no depth. And so now you're putting in players who barely have any starts, who have bounced around from teams, and who can't hold a block for more than a second and a half. And that's just not going to get it done. There needs to be all hands on deck getting offensive line talent, because that seems to be the first and foremost issue, but I'm not even sure if that's the sole issue that's causing the problems.
And then let's not forget you got a guy like Cody Whitehair who went out last night. The offense was so trash that I didn't even know if he came back in the game last night, but he's a guy who's playing out of position. You got Charles Leno and Massey looking like total trash. And I want to, before we let you get out of here, I know Terrence might have something else for you, but this is my last thing for you. Herb Howard says dominant D and subpar O could still get us to the playoffs. The O just can't be as bad as they were last night. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. I mean, you think back to the Ravens in 2000, 2001 when they won, that was subpar offense. But they were able to produce some big plays, some big drives when needed. It was not as bad as the Bears last night. The Bears were F if you want to grade them last night.
Terrible.
They can get to a C minus. I think that just shows you how low our expectations are.
The bar is so low.
It's so low. But if they can get to a C minus, I absolutely think they can make the playoffs. The defense is phenomenal. I mean, those 24 points are, that's still impressive. They held on to that, but they were exhausted for the most part.
What worries me, and this is all I had to say before we let you go, Flows, but what worries me about that and what Herb just said is that how much pressure are you going to put on your defense to have to stay healthy, to be on the field most of the time? The defense scored more than the offense yesterday. You know what I mean? And I don't know how many times we can really realistically ask for that to be the case moving forward. Like, okay, the defense scored more than the offense and it ended in a loss. That may not happen again another game during this season. We saw Khalil Mack look like he was hurt for a second. He ended up being okay, but that's good. We saw a couple of with Jalen Johnson looked like he may have been hurt for a second. Eddie Jackson looked like he may have been hurt for a second. Those are the things that you start to worry about when you start leaning on your defense that hard. You feel me? Like, they need to be on the field then off. You need an offense that can keep them off the field sometimes, you know?
And with the game basically out of reach. Okay, it was 24-10, but the game was out of reach. We knew the defense wasn't going to score 2 more touchdowns, and the offense had gotten 3 points all evening. So at that point, it's like, okay, guys, maybe you should give Khalil Mack and some of those guys a break.
Yeah.
Call this one, wave the white flag, get those guys off their feet, and let's live to play another game next week. But also, how about the game Leonard Floyd had?
He looked like the Leonard Floyd that the Bears wish they had.
The guy that loves to play primetime football.
You know, isn't that typical Bears fashion? A former Bears player.
It is.
Plays the Bears, who was subpar with the Bears and then takes off on the Bears. That's typical Bears. But the only issue with the defense is what scares me is they are one big injury away from collapsing. That's my biggest fear. If Khalil goes down the game, God forbid, because I don't want anything to happen to any NFL team or any NFL player.
Flows, those few minutes that we thought Eddie
thought it was ACL. Yep.
I think that's exactly what people are feeling like. They're just like that. Things are about to change. Thank God that wasn't the case. But like you said, they still are that one injury away from not mattering at all, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Joe is going to be at Soldier Field on Sunday to see how the Bears can bounce back versus the Saints. He covers the Bears for the Bigs.
Are we going to have Joe on the kickoff, kickback?
We are going to have Joe live on Sunday, live from Soldier Field as we do our thing with her from the West Center for Black People Media Studios. I'm looking forward to seeing what the temperature is going to, as far as the temperature with the fans. I know fans are pissed. Fans are calling for Mitch Trubisky, which I think is crazy.
Money making Mitch, let's go.
It's only going to get louder if the Bears take another L on Sunday. Joe is going to be live giving you what's real from Soldier Field. Thank you for rocking with us, Joe. We appreciate you holding it down and staying online with us today.
Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all.
Love, Joe.
Yes, sir.
Let's jump into a quick break real quick. We'll be right back. We'll go ahead and wrap up the show.
WIFTVPN.
So look.
Shop at Black-owned and operated Solo Beauty, where you are appreciated and respected. Located at 8158 South Cottage Grove, Solo Beauty can supply all of your black hair care needs. Solo Beauty is open from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m., Tuesday through Saturday.
Is it really a good idea to have the same senator for 3 generations? I support term limit for all elected officials. Our senators need to bring home growth for our business community, jobs, housing, service for our senior citizens, and healthcare. We need new ideas and new approach to federal representation. I'm Dr. Willie Wilson. Vote for me and send me to Washington, D.C. God bless.
Paid for by Willie Wilson for Senate 2020.
WIFTVPN.
Live from What's in It for the Black Media Studio, you're listening to The Bigs with Eugene McIntosh and Terrence Tomlin. Let's begin now.
You are back down on the soil, rocking with the bigs. I'm Eugene McIntosh in the building with my player partner T-Tom, Terrence Tomlin. This is our last segment as we get ready for Mike Love and Diz, Chicago famous, every day, 3 to 6 p.m. on the What's in It for the Black People Media Network. And man, I see we got a couple new hires in the NBA, man. Stan Van Gundy's taking over in New Orleans with Zion Williamson and company, and Tyronn Lue is taking over in L.A. from Doc Rivers and crew. What's it looking like from your end, man?
I was interested to see where Ty Lue was going to land. I feel like we saw Doc Rivers go ahead and take that Philly job after we heard Ty Lue was in the running for that. So I feel like it's only right that he go take the Clippers job.
Doc wasn't turning down no bread. I don't care if it was the Bulls. Doc was going to sign somewhere to get that book, man.
Period. And I feel like Stan Van Gundy is the right person to be with Zion Williamson now.
You think so?
They call Stan Van Gundy the spacing god. You know what I mean? They saw what he did at Orlando. You just open the court up for your best players. If Zion has some room to drive, then we're talking about a 20 to 23 point per game season next year for Zion.
Zion got to get his game up though, man.
Oh, he definitely got to get his game up. But I'm sure they want him to do what he does now as often as he can. Get to the bucket, put it down with 2 hands, get as many easy shots as you can. I feel like that's the approach with Zion right now. But you're the guy. Let me know. Is that what it is with him?
I think he needs to get his game up. I mean, he was very effective in his limited time
But
this
he
year.
shot like 55, 60%.
But that's the same thing. When now the scouting report is out. So now teams, I mean, and this was a crazy season. So, coming back, I think starting Christmas Day, if everything goes right, Zion is definitely going to have to add to his game. It'll only be his second year, but I think he has to add a little something else to his game. And I think he just got to lay off the Creole, the shrimp and grits, and lay off the pound cake, man. And I think
that's hard. Give me the honey butter cornbread, the jambalaya. I need me a shrimp po' boy. I feel Zion,
man.
But you can't do that though.
Yeah, you got to stay off. Stay out of downtown New Orleans.
Stay off the Creole, right?
But I do think I think Alvin Gentry landed somewhere too. I think he's an assistant somewhere.
He's going to be an assistant coach. I can't remember where, but I know that he's on somebody's bench.
Okay.
One of the guys that he could have retired and been cool, but that's for the love of the game. He's back in it.
Alvin Gentry has way too much to offer a young ball club.
Some recruiting news real quick. Bryce Hopkins from Fenwick. As funny as it is, he's one of the last players we saw before the pandemic happened, just committed to Kentucky.
So I know he was committed to Louisville first. He decommitted from Louisville. I think Louisville is coming up on some they're going to be having some charges coming soon. So he decided to decommit, get over there with Coach Cal, whose record speaks for itself. I'm looking forward to seeing Bryce Hopkins basically be one and done and take his talents to the NBA.
I definitely feel like he's one of those players. He has it all. Shout out to everybody that's been telling us about Bryce Hopkins since last year. A lot of guys been telling us, you guys got to get to a Fenwick game. You got to see Bryce Hopkins. We did, and he's definitely all that.
He was all that. I was glad Coach Mo got us out to Fenwick to see Bryce Hopkins. Hopefully we'll get to see him a little bit this year, but, again, headed to Kentucky. Coach Cal got him one. It's looking like one and done for Bryce Hopkins. Can't wait to see the rest of the signees from this Illinois, Chicago senior class. Ahmad Bynum, DePaul, Isaiah Barnes to
Strong
Michigan.
class.
So it's looking up for everybody in Chicago. So with that being said, man, this is another episode of On the Soil with the Bigs. You know who I am, man. It's your man, Eugene McIntosh, in the building with my player partner, T-Tom. We will be back Thursday, same bat time, same bat channel. Stay on the network. Up next, we got Chicago Famous with Mike Love and Diz, 3 to 6 p.m. Stay tuned. Rock out with the brothers. What's in it for the Black People Media, the Bigs, On the Soil. It's a takeover.
It's us.
WIFTBPM.